Hello, hello. Welcome to Brit Views It All. And today I am coming to you with the review for the latest episode of Sistas on BET. I think this was episode 9 or something like that. It was titled Uneven Playing Field. So, this episode, at this point, I mean, they pretty much still have us on our feet, playing with our emotions, up and down, up and down, up and down on the emotion scale. Um, all in all, I'm ready for next week's episode. So obviously they must have did a good job. So episode picks up. Fatima and Andy, they are still in the conference room that they were speaking with the client. Client's gone. Them two, they're still talking. Fatima's in really, her emotions are really coming out. And she's really like got it in her head that she is about to basically break up with Zach, call off everything. Um, so, that's pretty much what we got from that point. I'm wondering if Gary caught kind of like the tail end of whatever was going on in that room with them. So I'm just wondering if he did or if he just so happened to just be walking up as Fatima's getting up to leave. Excuse me, y'all. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Gary comes in, wants to speak to Andy. It's like, okay, here we go again. Number one, that word was really loud. Number one, I'm really baffled at how unprofessional Andy's workplace seems to be when it comes to people coming in and out the office. I know they're lawyers, so you get a variety of people throughout the day. But Gary comes in to speak to her when it was like, okay, so you had a dual purpose for coming there because he did visit. Remember, he went to Hayden's office first. But anyway, he goes, he approaches Andy, speaks to her. He's still feeling some kind of way about what she told him when it comes to her true feelings towards him and what she wants him for and what she believes that that's all it's gonna be, that he's gonna be good for pertaining to them two being together. It's not gonna be a together just every now and then when she wants some attention, right? Just to have fun. So his ego is still bruised. He then proceeds to try to kind of play games with her. I don't know if he's doing that just to kind of like do like a little get back with her, get back at her, or if he's really getting into the idea of them two just being not together like that and just, have fun. So we're going to see what happens with that in the end. Whatever. Honestly, I'm really tired of the two of them, but I've said that multiple times and I'm going to keep saying it until they give us somebody else that's actually good for her. Moving on. Now, let's see. Gary went back to Hayden's office. So, Tamara, whatever her name is, so she was leaving or whatever. Hayden is so smitten with this girl. Aiden is so smitten with this girl. It's hilarious. He literally, it's like he almost doesn't want to know if there's anything bad in her background because it's going to ruin that high that he's on right now. So Gary pretty much told him, like, there's pretty much, she's basically clean, didn't find anything except for something she got in trouble when she was in high school. Other than that, she's clean. So he kind of had like Aiden kind of had like a sigh of relief or whatever. And so Gary is still telling him, like, dude, you need to look at these papers. You need to get the annulment done. You need to do this. And Aiden's like, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done. Don't worry about it. I don't think Aiden's going to divorce her. I don't. I think he's kind of coming around to the idea of being with her, because this is probably the most attention that he's gotten from a woman in a long time, and his mind is out. It's out here, gone. So there's that. But I said out loud, me and my mom, we were watching. I said, you know what? I still don't like Aiden. However, I'm kind of happy he's occupied with somebody else so that he can leave Fatima and Zach alone. Okay, so we're gonna roll with Tamara to whatever. I forgot her name. I can't say it, but whatever. We're gonna keep that going. Okay. Now, let's hop back on over to Zach and Karen at this little lunch that they were at, brunch, lunch, whatever. Karen is still looking at him in that way that she's been looking at him since he's been being, I guess, nice to her. I'm just like, I was really kind of on my toes on this scene because I was curious as to what was going to happen with that conversation. She proceeded to keep trying to, actually, she just flat out said what she was thinking. She loves him. He loves her. They need to be together, this and that. So she just went on ahead and said exactly what she was thinking. And I feel like Zach kind of knew that underneath all of that, just a little bit, that she might have been kind of feeling some kind of way, like as far as her feelings for him coming back to the surface, which I don't think they was never really gone. Preacher Man was just a distraction, but okay. And then she's just like, being overly thirsty, talking about, let's go back to my place and all of this and that. Mind you, he's in a relationship with a whole nother woman, and who this woman is. And he's told you, and even at the table, he said it, and I was like, Zach, okay, thank you, goodness. This is what we needed to hear. You still were doing some questionable things. I don't know what was going on in your head, but this is what we needed to hear come out of his mouth, because he had me thinking that he was kind of swaying, back that way. But all in all, he basically kept telling her, like, Karen, I do love you. I've said that. He said, but I'm with her. I'm with her. Which is basically the nicest way to say, girl, yes, I do love you. Like, I would never want anything bad to happen to you. I've never lost anyone like that in my life. However, I'm in love with Fatima. There's a difference. And she just could not let it go. He's steady saying, I love you differently than how I love her. That is not saying that he wants to be with you more than her, but he's going to stay. That's not what he was saying. I don't think he could have been any more clear with his feelings. But she still, in the end, was just like, okay, well, I'm going to leave my door unlocked. I was just like, ugh. Karen, to thirst after a man like that when he is literally said multiple times and looking you in the face and saying it again and again and again that he does not want to be with you in that way. He wants to be with Fatima. That was like, girl, don't keep embarrassing yourself like that. Like, it's becoming a little sad. It really is. It really is. Because, in my opinion, you didn't want nothing to do with him until you saw the change and how he, he changed, like, completely financially. The way you saw him, how he was with another woman, you saw a whole complete change in him. And then now you want him back? Because before all of that, you wanted nothing to do with him. Anyway, she was just irritating me. It's like, girl, can you have a little about yourself? Okay? Goodness. Even if you is thirsting after him like that, don't let him know that. Anyway. And then on top of that, we still don't know who the father of her child is. I really think that she just wants to try to get back into a good like, get all lovey-dovey back with Zach, to then have Zach step into the role as the father of that child, possibly even lie and say that it is his, when really it's not. It's Aaron's child. I really think it is Aaron's, preacher man. Moving on from that. Ugh. Anyway, so there's that. Let's see. We have Danny and Preston. They're still doing the same thing. They're being all nice to each other and sweet to each other. They want to go out, blah, blah, blah. Moving on. Same old, same old. Okay, now we get on to Maurice. Maurice and Sabrina and Calvin, they're still doing their little 1, 2, 3. At this point, if I were them, I would stop talking to Maurice about that, because he keeps saying a lot of, negative things about, what he wants to do to Q. And it's like, hey, if you do want to do whatever you want to do, and I'm going to keep saying it, don't tell me. Keep me out of it. I ain't heard nothing. I ain't seen nothing. I don't want no parts of that. So we're going to see. I need Maurice to, love Maurice down. But we need you to take this more seriously, sir. But anyway, moving on from that. Let's see. Okay. Now, while Sabrina was there with Calvin, I think Maurice, he had left at that point. Andy calls Sabrina and said, hey, we need to meet up at Karen's. We need to go to Karen's. She's like, is she okay? Blah, blah, blah. The same. That's how they all do each other, right? So that's happened. That's in motion. Going on. Q is off of work, hobbling to a vehicle. And I was just like, now, wasn't he in a wheelchair? But as we know, Q is going to put on a show for sympathy to get what he wants from any person that he comes across. So he probably didn't really need a wheelchair like that. But he definitely was walking. Slow, but walking. Now, as he's doing that, Maurice comes out of nowhere. He's hounding him. Now, I'm like, all right, Maurice, because now at this point, this will be considered harassment. Now, the first time you were there because your vehicle was there, got it. This time, you really had no reason to be there, really, unless you were catching a flight, going somewhere. You would basically be considered harassing him. But I'm feeling like he's going to try to basically harass him and drive him crazy to the point of just telling the truth. And maybe that's the plan. I don't know. But that scene was absolutely funny. And Q gonna talking about get away from my car. And I'm like, your car? Girl that was driving, that's where we would have had an issue. Like, whoa, hold it. It's like your car. That's my car. I'm helping you. But Maurice, he's a fool. Okay, that was hilarious though. Basically trying to warn her, like, girl, he will steal everything. Okay. Now, we move on to Zach. He goes home, and Fatima's sitting there. We already know why she's sitting there looking like she is. We know what conversation is getting ready to come. So he goes, leans in for a kiss. She gives him the cold shoulder, like, we not doing that, because we not good right now. Sits down, want to talk. He's like, well, I've been wanting to talk to you. Can I go first? She's like, no, I need to go first. He's like, as always, you need to say what you need to say first. He was like, okay, go ahead, come on. So they go ahead and they have their conversation. When I tell you the way that the convo started off, it was like, ooh. And he pretty much understood, like, honey, she's ready to leave you. She ain't got that ring on. And he's like, yeah, and I bet your bags is packed at the top of the stairs. She said, they're in my car. Like, honey, not playing with you. This conversation, it did need to happen. And then it also kind of made me kind of be like, ooh, okay, Fatima, he kind of got you on that one, because he did bring up a good point. He was like, give me some grace. Like, I've never experienced this before. I did not know how to react. My intention wasn't to disrespect you in any way. I'm like, dude, that's what she needed to hear. Ben needed to hear that. You were so up Karen's you know what that you didn't even take the time to pull her to the side and have a conversation with. You were being so stubborn, you couldn't take a second to understand why she might have been feeling a little weird. And he was finally able to get her to actually say exactly how she was feeling, and that conversation was going somewhere. And I'm like, thank you, Zach. Don't mess up your home, man. All right, over Karen, and you don't even want her like that. Goodness. Now my so we're all good. Everything's good in Zatima land. So thank you. Well, over here on this show, everything's good for now. Um, he brought what I'm saying is he brought up how she reacted when her ex came back into the picture, and it was like a whole thing, and it was like, yeah, you know what, Fatima, he kind of got you on that one. Yeah, you were acting a little strange at first. You were doing something. You went to a lunch. You did all of that. So, you know, that was kind of helped her to kind of calm it down just a little bit. So, all in all, they're still good. So I'm happy about that. Now, Zach told her about the things that Karen said to him, and she was like, oh, really? And I was like, oh, man, here we go. And she was like, oh, she did? And it's like basically just, he really was just trying to let her know, like, this, she said all these things to me, but guess what? I'm here with you. I don't want to be wherever she is. I don't want her like that. But we all know that Fatima is definitely not feeling that in no way, shape, or form. So, okay. Now, let's see. Now, getting to the final scene. Andy pops up at, what's her name? Karen, at Karen's house. And she's all chilling on the couch, all dressed, all, I guess, trying to be dressed all sexy and stuff. I'm like, this chick is really delusional. She really is like expecting Zach to be there. She's basically telling Andy, like, yeah, because Zach, basically she just went on and said, because Zach's coming. And it's like, what are you doing, Karen? Why are you doing this? And the girl is just out there. Now, mind you, the rest of the ladies come in. They get to have their little banter, going back and forth, talking about this. Well, how are y'all with y'all man, y'all relationships, on and so on and whatever. Same old, as usual. What really was like, oh my Lord, is when Fatima walked through the door while Karen is sitting there talking about Zach this and Zach that. Fatima walks through the door and everybody's mouth went. Danny was like, that was so freaking funny. And I'm just like, okay. So Karen, like I said before, I feel like Fatima has been giving you grace because you're pregnant, and even more so possibly because it's with Zach's baby. But ma'am, you are going above and beyond and doing the most when you know that man is engaged. You know he's engaged. He's in a full-fledged relationship. They live together. They're building together. And this man has consistently told you that he does not want to be with you. He has definitely said yes. He does love you, but he is not in love with you. He wants to be with Fatima. He is in love with Fatima. He is engaged to Fatima. He wants to marry her. And it's not sinking. It's not sinking in here. But I cannot wait for next week's episode because Karen gonna get up and try to be all buck and get out my house. And Fatima said, I ain't leaving this house until I say what I need to say. And I'm like, girl, what you got to say? I can't wait. But yes, Karen needs some psychiatric help or something because, yeah, I don't know. Also, we got the clip, and it was Aaron. He has fallen off the wagon. So we're gonna see what happens with that because Danny runs into him, and I'm assuming that he must have been outside of Karen's place. Because how would Danny run into him? But whatever. So we're gonna see what happens. All in all, it was a really good episode. I am so happy that Zach and Fatima, they were able to work it out. I really was like, come on, Zach, don't do this. You really finna mess up a good thing, dude. Come on. But yeah, so we're gonna see what happens. We still don't know who the dad is. Don't know if we'll ever find out because Karen might lie. But yeah. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back next week with another episode. Bye, y'all.